Buenas and Hafa Adai, and welcome to the Hafa Adai Yu Show. My name is Glenn Lujan.
I'm Joshua and Agustin, and today we have with us Blondie,
Sebastian,
Ernesto.
We'd just like to welcome you guys to the podcast.
And thank you for joining us. And so for today's episode, our topic, Josh, is?
Well, it's a lot of things. But to sum it all up, it's like basically waiting on me to be me. You know, we're going to ask you to share like different things. We're just going to, do you want to just do it like how we're
gonna share experiences, how we all came out, or discovering ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with that, who would like to go first?
Who's going to be the first? Who's going to be the first?
Okay, I guess I'll go first. Coming out,
and your whole process of self-discovery, Sebastian, and when you identify, your whole journey.
Well, I mean, growing up, I didn't know that there was such thing as transgender. So, as a matter of fact, I didn't figure out that there was such thing as gay or lesbian till maybe high school. So that's what I was identifying as, is a lesbian. Till I met the girls, the House of Diosa, doing music and stuff at their show at Euphoria, and then that's when I found out. I'm not like that sentimental about it. I mean, it means a lot. It's just it's so far back in the past that like it's hard to remember all the bits and pieces. But yeah, coming out to my parents, that was kind of hard. In high school, I just brought a girl home, said, "Mom, Dad, it's my girlfriend." Like that's how I came out. And then being transgender, didn't know about it. My brother and my sisters, they're more in tune with me about that. It's just pronouns and my name that they have a hard time getting used to. Hopefully one day I'll get there to where they actually see me as Sebastian, because that's exactly who I am. No matter how much my parents still believe that I'm their little girl, I'm not. Right now, I'm their oldest son. I'm the man of the house. I'm the man of the house. I may be the shortest, but I'm the man. But yeah, I mean, right now, just dealing with that. Trying to get my post-ops for my top surgery going, and getting back on testosterone is my my short-term goal right now. I was this close, but I just didn't get back to that point yet. So yeah.
I remember that. I remember when you were going through your transition.
Yeah, I mean, on the spot with me, you might not get much, but the further on we go and the more conversations we get into, pretty sure it'll come out. Like, I'm not really good with on the spot, answering questions. Maybe trivia, but not personal stuff. It's yeah. So, anyways, who's next?
My coming out story basically was just me and my sister having an argument. She called me some names and I told her the truth. I told her it was true, and after that, my other sister found out about it, started calling the whole family, letting everybody know that their brother's gay. It was amazingly shocking that they were actually proud. I finally came out. I think, in all honesty, I think they knew from the get-go, since I was young, that, I didn't walk straight, I could say that much. I played with a lot of Barbies, so, it's, it came easy for me, and, I see that it's not easy for a lot of people. It's not always easy. Some families are very accepting, some aren't. Mm-hmm. Mine was, but, it breaks my heart when I see, families that aren't accepting to it. It really does, because we're still humans. We're still here to support each other. You need that family support to actually keep moving on. You don't have that family support, you start reaching out to other people, looking for looking for a new family, and
You're what we identify as our chosen family.
right, and but it's it's our chosen family, but it's not the same when it's not your actual family.
Right.
Because there are times you're going to want your mom, and if she's the one that's not accepting to it, it's heartbreaking because everybody needs a mother. Everybody needs a mother, and that's why we have Bubbles. That's why we have Charlene. They're our house mothers because they're our chosen. They're our chosen family. Like you guys are all my chosen family.
Okay, so my coming out story, I've been in the closet like all the way until maybe when I left home around 19 years old, and I went to school in San Francisco, and so kind of being out of the house, I got to explore more with my identity, and I was definitely like kind of putting on more performances. Like I would start, dressing up more extravagantly. I kind of looked like Johnny Depp back then, and always had like feather earrings and stuff like that. And so, playing with my appearance finally kind of helped me dabble in like what I like. And at the time I was maybe 19 or 20, and I was, if anyone asked, I would tell them I was bisexual because I wasn't ready to like, tell everybody gay yet. And I didn't even know at the time, but, I started, exploring my sexuality in the city. And maybe by the time I was 22, I was pretty solid telling everyone I was gay. And as far as the coming out part, I like to think of it as I don't really technically come out to people. I just kind of act like there's a light switch, and like one day, every day it's off, and then just one day it's turned on, but I don't announce it to anybody. That's kind of like my philosophy on coming out is I shouldn't have to announce it because straight kids don't have to tell their parents they're straight. And they never have to. And so it's like these quote unquote normal people don't have to do these, things that us abnormal people have to do. And so that was kind of how I approached it with everybody. But of course, with my mom and my dad, it was kind of, I went back to Guam for a summer. Maybe I was 21, and I don't know, I was 21, I was young, and my brain was still not fully developed, so everything was kind of a soap opera for me, and just like
all went through that dramatic phase.
So I had a very dramatic coming out argument with my mom, and looking back on it is so cringeworthy, and I was like, what, couldn't just be rational about it. But looking back on it is funny, but I definitely was acting so immature back then, so I kind of botched my coming out. But like I said, it's a light switch. That's how I approach it.
But I think it's interesting because we all vary in ages, so it's a lot of perspectives, and it's so different. Like maybe because Blondie and I are kind of we're categorized as the older generation, so
Right.
Wow.
we're not that ancient, but it's different, because I'm going to be 48 come July, so I'm meeting a lot of our LGBTQ plus community, and their stories are just, it's so different because it's more widely accepted.
Yeah, well, different, but even like you could find similarities because there's even going back to what you said, like that's what I would do too. Like I don't announce that I'm gay, but if you ask me, I'm not going to deny it.
Yeah.
In all honesty, I think everybody has a coming out. I know we all do have a coming out story.
Oh, I don't. I was outed, remember?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But, for the most part of it, I think everybody, if you're not outed, has a coming out story. They have a story to tell. And, the best thing we can do is just listen to it because, our future generations can learn from it, Okay, they did this wrong, they did this right, so let's put it together and see how I can make it a smoother transition.
I don't think it's a wrong or a right. I think it's just, your own personal experience and your own journey. I mean, we're not perfect people,
No,
but
we're not.
And everybody's mindset is different.
Yeah.
And I
exactly.
think it also depends on the people and the family that you have. Like some family, they deserve some like sensitivity.
Yeah.
In this case,
Yeah.
some
Or there's
and
expectations.
there's like you expect them to be mad or whatever. So like.
And then it's, it gets dramatic. Like with me, when I came out to my mom, you know, I was going to school, you know, I'm always going out. My mom thought I was just partying too hard, and she goes, "That's it?" And I'm like, I'm bawling, crying, go, "What?" She goes, "You're fine, you know, I love you, you're my son, what am I gonna do?" I go, "I'm not gonna change you." That one, I'm like, "Oh, okay."
That was pretty much how it went.
And I'm like, "Man, really?"
Was that easy, right?
I'm like, and then my mom goes, "Will you stop crying?" I'm like, and you know, and it's the cry where you're like, "Okay," and she's like, "Knock it off already." And I'm
That
like,
was the ugly cry.
"Yeah, it was the ugly cry," and my mother's just looking at me like, "Really?"
And then you walked away, you're like,
That was easy.
I'm like, "Okay, yeah." So, yeah, it just. But again, you know, we have friends, and you know, they don't have that support, you know, and like we said, we go back and we have our chosen family. So like with us, we have the Sisters of the Moonlight. And then Josh has, you know, the House of Diosas. So, I mean, we look up to each other. You know, no judgment. Everyone's here. You know, we're treated.
And we learn from each other, yeah. You know, we all learn from each other. One way or the other, we learn.
also, I think, you know, whether you have a bad experience or a good experience, like for coming out, you know, whatever experience you have is very worthwhile. You can really take a lot of wisdom from it, anything, whatever you went through, whether it was easy or hard.
Yeah,
Right.
easy or
Something
hard.
you're always gonna remember.
Yeah.
I agree.
But
for-
even if it's
yeah.
bad, you know, that's just gonna toughen you up for whatever it is you're gonna experience later on in life.
Right.
So that part for me was easy. Now the next part, because I'm an educator and a teacher, right? I got close to some of my colleagues in a grade level that I taught, and they would watch my behavior. Like, how come Glenn is always with so and so, and how come it? So finally, you know, we had a luncheon, and we went out. My teacher friends wanted to go out, have happy hour. So I think I was sabotaged or something. They cornered me, right? So they're like, "Glenn, are you gay?" And I'm like, "What?" I need another drink.
Right? Like all of a sudden,
I
like,
changed this up. They're like, "No, Glenn, no, you're not gonna get it. Tell us." And I'm like, "What?" Yeah. And then I'm like, "Yes, I am." And they're like, You could have just told us that. I'm like, "Okay." And then I was gonna cry. I said, "No, I'm not gonna cry." But you know, it felt good, you know. And
So dramatic. Right?
very.
did you want to talk about it?
So yeah, that was pretty much for me. And then now, you know, it's just being out there, being visible, you know. And when I see, you know, people or folks struggling, you know, I kind of offer but you know, I don't push it. I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's
Right. You know, for me, I stepped away from, you know, I didn't step away from the life. I just stepped away from hanging out with the girls, you know, and stuff like that for years. You know, I put my mind into concentrating, you know, with my job, education. You know, I started to do all that stuff. And then just recently, right? I finally came back. I finally saw the light. Come to the light, Caroline. So yeah, you know, I'm back with the girls, and you know, I can honestly say it is the best thing that's, you know, that I'm going through right now.
For those of you that don't know, Blondie is actually a legend in his own right. A long time hairdresser,
Right.
hairstylist. You know, so a lot of people, you mention Blondie's name, everyone's like, "Oh, he did my wedding. Oh, he cut so and so's hair." So
33 years, Danny.
or
Yeah.
or helping,
show.
you know. So anyone that Blondie's like a household name. I mean, a lot of people are even still looking for him.
I'm like a backyard conversation to some, you know, to a lot of people.
But yeah,
You know, it's sometimes it's overwhelming. You know, sometimes it's overwhelming. "Oh, I've heard of you," or "Oh, do you remember this?" And you know, the bad part is when I don't remember. That means I'm getting old because I can't.
that's
I'm
just
just
the
joking.
age. That's just
You know,
the age, yeah.
It's you know, some people come up. "Do you remember you did this? Do you remember?" And you know, I have to think about it first before I actually remember. You know, so
It's like that. So when there's so many, you know, people and experiences,
So-
like it's
exactly.
when
I
I
do the
met
same thing
when I met Blondie, we reconnected through mutual friends because he was cutting my other friend's hair, and then I was like, "Oh, so you know, so we're talking, and then I introduced him to all of the.
You're using your gaydar, no?
It was beeping off the chart, right?
You hear the grinder.
Ding, ding. Like, so when you know, I brought Blondie into the Sisters of the Moonlight. Little did I know, when he saw at a gathering, he was like, everyone turned. They're like, Blondina, is that you? Everything just went.
It just went off.
It just flowed. Yeah, went off the charts. Everything. They're like, oh my God, where have you been? You know.
Yeah. And you know that one night that I was there, I had never heard my name so much. Blondie, Blondie. I was like, wow. I have, but I haven't seen a lot of them in years. It's, I didn't do it purposely to stay away. I was just busy. Life is busy.
Life
for me.
life happens for all of us. We have to, secure ourselves and work in our profession, going to school.
Exactly.
So
same with me. I remember when I first met you. I remember I had just.
Yeah,
like,
you had
really like
you weren't even
spreading
18.
my wings.
Yeah, you weren't even 18.
I was
yet.
literally just spreading my wings, and he was just like,
you're just a baby gay.
Yeah, I had a binky and everything.
Right? And like Josh, I met Josh through his sister Kelly. We used Kelly as one of our models for our fashion shows, and one day she brought Josh, and that's how we met Josh, and that was at Buddy's Billiards.
I don't remember,
It was
but
at
they were
Buddy's
trying to get me to
Billiards.
do it too, and I was super introvert.
We wanted to dress her up as a girl, but she wouldn't let us. We're gonna put her in drag today, but she's like, no.
Like even
no,
just
no.
them saying hi, like I was getting red. Like I was.
Well, it was all new. All new to you.
Yeah.
What is up with you guys and dressing everybody up as a
You know what?
I remember
That's
when-
not everyone. That's a
Or-
blondie
or
too.
yeah,
like
Yeah.
Barbies,
But when you need
the
models,
girls did that to me too. And I was like,
no, but when you need models, you improvise. When you need a
Remember when
female model,
when
you
Jackie did that with Adam
yeah.
and they posted it?
He liked it. Like me, I was like, I don't look good. I don't like it. Like I only like it if I look good, but I don't look good.
But really, when you need models, you improvise. I mean,
Yeah.
if Len was there, I would have probably did the same thing and tried to dress her in drag. Throw her out on the stage, and there,
Probably wouldn't even
job done
ask,
right.
huh?
Yeah,
Just
no,
Just walk out
just do
there.
it. Well, even with her short hair, we'll just make it look like she was a short-haired female. The makeup will say it all.
On that, talking about how you're a household name, though, that's what I noticed too about a lot of queer people is that because I guess we have more pressure from society, more oppression, we have more motivation to
Get out.
become great at something.
Yeah.
So you're
Right. It's
a
very
master
true.
at hair. And I noticed a lot of gay men, or queer people, when they find what they're good at, they really dive into it and they become really successful.
Right.
And
They hone
they
into that.
basically become like a household name.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
it's like a lot of gay people, we got to just channel that,
That
sadness
yeah.
and, angst into
Use
our
it as
specialty,
Exactly.
our calling.
Yeah.
use it as a tool to replace what we lose or what we've lost. If we've lost this because of the way we are, maybe this could be a tool to to get us to be who we are.
A lot of it is like proving ourselves, right, and everybody wrong.
Right, and that's basically I think what we all did. Was,
But then, especially for me in my field, we strive to be role models for our
Right.
students. And, I'm seeing a lot of youth come out and I'm still trying to work with GDOE and working on some programs for our queer, our LGBTQ plus youth and stuff. So hopefully, those things come to play. And
because there is a lot of them. There is.
yeah.
So I mean,
Well, more so now.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a lot more different when
Yeah.
I guess we were
It's a
going
lot
up.
of
I mean, 'cause,
potential.
Yeah.
the older generation is more out there, so hopefully-
It's actually because of us. It's actually helping them to
Yeah.
express themselves more. So it's really nice when you see that,
Well, I like to think of us like the runway,
right?
and then they're the models walking.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Watch your step. Don't fall. When you get
Keep
to
your
the
head
end of
up.
the stage, turn right.
No, but and that's like what Ernesto said. Just channel that and
Right.
promote that positivity.
Yep.
And bring out the talents of everyone, and that way they don't suffer from depression or and we do have a lot of our LGBT or our queer people going through that. And, yeah.
We do. I remember.
We do.
Forgot. I'm thinking it was still when I was working in sales. I had one of our customers. We became like close just through interactions, with what I did. And I remember one day she just asked me like, Josh, like I've never physically seen you because when they come to pick up the stuff that they ordered, it's never her. It's always one of the people under her. And she just asked me out of the blue one day. She's like, "Are you?" And I'm like, "Am I what? Dracula?" And she starts laughing. She goes, "No." And I'm like, "Just say it. I already know what you're going to ask." And she's like, "Are you gay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I am." And I remember she was struggling with that because she has a son who she thinks is, but, you know, she knows that he is, rather. And then he was struggling with coming out with that. And she's like, do you have any advice or anything like that? And I said, honestly, don't ask him. I mean, you can ask him if you want to, but I said, but I think it would be better if he came out to you. She's like, "Why not?" I was like, make him do it on his own terms.
Right.
Because he'll be more comfortable that way.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a better like connection. And I was like, "But do you accept him?" She's like, "Of course." Yeah. I'm like, "Okay, that's all he needs. He just needs your support. That's it. You don't need to do anything." I said, "Whenever he's ready, he's gonna do it. Trust me."
Yo, Josh, actually, that's funny that you say that because my mom, when I was growing up, it was just me and my mom for a while, and you know, I was a very eccentric little toddler, and she already knew something wasn't altogether, you know, like the other boys, like the other kids. And so she took me to, I think, a psychologist. And like she was like, you know, she was like, "What's going on?" Like, you know, and the psychologist kind of said like, you know, if he was gay, would you love him any less? And my mom said, no. And then the psychologist was like, well, then that's it. That's enough. And so it's really touching, actually, like when my mom tells me that story. Like, she gave me unconditional love from the start. And I think mothers always know, like more than fathers, but the mothers always know your kid.
I think the father knows, but the father kind of puts it in the back of his mind.
He doesn't want to know. Right?
He doesn't want to know because that's my son.
This is my son. He's going to be the provider, the man.
The mother's like, fine, if he's a boy or girl, he's fine, you know. Mothers are always happy with
hello, we can do that still.
I play
Just
football.
one little interesting
here.
I play football. I played a lot of really
well, at least I tried.
I was scared of sports.
I played soccer. I played football. I played baseball. Softball,
just don't ask me to play volleyball because when that ball comes to me, I'm like, I run off the court. I
You got it.
I am not gonna get that ball. I'm not gonna.
You got it.
I'm not gonna hit myself because I will not bruise myself.
I'm like, Blondie, it's like 3 feet away from you. It's still far.
But yeah, mothers know. Yeah, that's why even like my mom, she goes, "I don't know what's wrong with you." I'm like, okay.
Right. You know, a mother's love is very unconditional. You know, some mothers do. You know, some mothers do come to that point where they just don't accept because they too have high expectations. But it's very rare you find a mother like that. You know, I mean, you know, very rare.
Yeah, I was gonna say not to say that it doesn't happen because I do know some people where it was the father figure
that was
the
accepting.
father that was more accepting versus the mother.
Yeah.
You know, and it does happen, but it's rare. You know, there's rare occasions when it does happen, and when it happens, I feel sorry for those that it happens to because, you know, like I said, a mother's love is no other. You know?
But the story is beautiful. You know, that's
and you know, later on down the line when they get, you know, they become close to the mother finally starts to accept them. You know, they that story that they start to tell of how the mother became acceptant to them, acceptant to them and stuff like that. It's beautiful. Sometimes when I hear somebody's story, I do admit I do cry. I get dramatic like her.
Mine's beautiful, but it's kind of lame compared to all of you guys. No, literally, because like remember what I shared on the last episode. You remember I was telling you, Kelly and I got into this huge argument, and at the time I had a boyfriend, and she was
How old were you and had a boyfriend?
Huh?
How old were you and had a boyfriend?
My first boyfriend?
The one, I forgot.
No, because I believe he was my second.
Wow. You're already a player.
Okay.
No, I wasn't a player.
So then what happened?
The first one was just a weirdo, and then the second one was another weirdo.
So were you
Just a line of weirdos.
So where are you at with the weirdos now?
Well, anyway, like I said, I had a boyfriend at the time, and Kelly knew him because, you know, like we were kind of like a circle of friends growing up, and We got into this huge argument. And she looks at me, she's like, I'm going to go tell mom you're gay. And I was like, didn't think she was serious about it. So, you know, I had this habit, like we had this tin can. It's like the trash can. And that's where we used to store the rice.
Oh, I still have that.
My mom,
that's an old.
I always had
thing.
this habit. Like every time my mom was cooking, I would always sit on that because it was right next to the stove. I would always sit on that and just watch her cook. And then from corner of my eyes, I kept like turning around the corner to come to the kitchen. And still thinking nothing of it. She's like, Mom, did you know Josh has a boyfriend? And I'm like, and my mom just turns and goes, do you have a boyfriend? And I'm like, yes.
what was her reaction?
It was, like I said, it was lame because, you know, my mom had a brother that was gay. So
she was
she didn't even think anything of it. And not only that, I believe Kelly came out before I did. And Kelly identifies as, you know, trans. So it was nothing. It was like Kelly had all the stuff. And then when I came out, they were like,
we're done. She's good.
Like that's the guy that holds the person in the dress walking down the red carpet. I'm just the person holding the back of the dress.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like, who's that? Oh, he's a gay. Oh, it's okay. Nah.
That is just too funny.
I mean, it's still beautiful because I already knew my mom accepted me, but
it's
like I said, it's not
a funny
as
story.
extravagant
You know?
as you guys' own.
It doesn't have to be.
But it is beautiful because, you know, it's a story that, you know, when you're telling it, it makes people laugh because of what ensued, how it came about, you know. I mean, you're sitting there and your sister comes around the corner. It's like the shocking, I can already feel the shock that you went through, like, you know, but, you know.
It's funny too, because like when we're sitting down, like having similar conversations like this with our group of friends, and they start sharing their coming out stories. Like, Josh, so you have a coming out story? Just give her this look, and she starts cracking up. And they're like, what? I'm like, nothing. I don't have one.
You tell Kelly you're the one
That outed me.
Or even sometimes I'm like, Josh, so what's your coming out story? I was like, I don't know, ask Cal.
Oh my gosh. But I don't know. I accept who I am. I don't hide from it, you know. And if they don't like us, hey, they don't have to deal with us. They shouldn't have to deal with us. Go the other way, walk the other way. I mean, because I'm not gonna turn around for you. I'm gonna keep going forward. If I need to get to point B, I'm gonna get to point B, with or without you, you know. And a lot of people, I notice, like sometimes, like when I used to work at the mall, sometimes, you know, they see you coming and, you know, the women, you know, their wives are like, oh, hey, you know, and all that stuff, right? And then when you know, they introduce us to the husbands, you can feel that tension to a lot, you know, with a lot of them, you start to feel that tension, like, but then they start to open up. And then before you know it, it's the husbands that you become closer to than the wives.
Right.
I had a lot of female friends too, and their husbands, I go, is your husband? They go, no, he's not jealous. And I could see him at time bobbing me. Right. Like, you need to talk to your husband, right? So then when we, like, you know, when we get introduced, they're like, hey man, Glenn's cool. I'm like,
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And then before you know, she just code switched, right?
Hey man, Glenn's cool.
But you know, before you know it, it's the husband that's inviting us, you know? It's the husband inviting us over. So, you know, they're doing all that.
Sebastian, Ernesto, the running joke in our group, you know, I'm effeminate, I'm flamboyant, you know, I talk whatever, but when it's like a stranger, someone I don't know, you know, I change my voice, you know, because I'm a teacher, so you don't have to project. So
she projects it.
We were at a rosary, and we were saying a rosary for our friend's family, and our other friend was tasked to bless the table. He saw all the people and he got nervous. I go ahead, you know, and he said, I don't want. I'm like, oh, so I said, okay, here we go. So I go, all right, you know, please rise. We're gonna bless the table. And these guys that were there, they're like,
look, we're like,
so
where are you?
Like,
he's
I
at
felt that
one
in my
section
heart.
of the house,
right?
And we're sitting where we can see it, but his back is turned to us. And
you know, so
my other good friends is sitting next to me, and right when he says all of that, I'm like, oh.
you know, so I call it I call it code switching, because you know, wherever we're at, you know, of course you have to respect where we're at and everything. So when I did They were all cracking up in the corner, and I could hear them, and I'm like, oh my god, these guys they're
You were
reading
the
me.
talk of the town.
They
that
were
night.
reading me, and they go, we heard a man talk.
I know. And he comes over and he's like, "What were you guys laughing about? What were you guys laughing about?" I was like, "What's up, man?"
So, that's what Josh is saying. Say it again, and I'm like, So yeah, that's
Yeah, usually when I'm with him too, and we're out like in a public area, he bumped into somebody where he code switches. As soon as he does that, I'm like,
Who are you, right?
no, and then we're walking away. He goes, "What were you doing?" Looking around, I was like, I was trying to figure out who was saying all of that.
and it's so funny because I'll do that like at the schools, right? But then if I see my teacher friends who are comfortable with me, like 3 seconds later, it's hey girl, and then I'm like, okay, shoot,
Right. Oops.
no, but
It just happens, right?
Yeah,
You
it
do
just
on
happens.
purpose.
But wherever I go,
Yeah.
I think everybody knows. So who I am, and that I'm gay. But it's just the reaction, right? Especially, I get a kick out because these guys, and in our group, they know me so well. So when they see me talk different, they're all like,
Why are you acting brand new?
Right?
no,
Right?
they're like, who's this man, and where did he come out from your body from? I'm like, you guys, be quiet. It's so
But
dumb.
she does have a very deep voice when she needs it, right?
Yeah.
She scares me sometimes. Sometimes when she does that, when she switches, we're like, really?
You can feel the
I mean,
bass in your heart.
yeah.
the baseline.
Yeah.
So since
Trauma.
Trauma
response.
since you brought up the she, let's answer this age-old question: the pronouns.
Okay.
Sebastian, what would you like to be addressed
What would
as?
you be
My
addressed?
pronouns are he, him, his, boy, man, dude.
My pronouns are,
He,
I guess,
she,
she,
her,
him, girl. Girl, most especially.
Yeah.
We call everybody girl.
For you, I picked D, all of the above.
Right?
No, because I'm still learning about all of this, and I know now, right? That's
Yeah.
the more appropriate term.
In
when-
actuality,
ask.
when you meet a trans,
in actuality,
a
we're
trans person, right?
shims.
It's best to ask.
No, but going
Yeah.
back, that's like the vulgar.
How do you
Oh, she's a
meet a
shim.
trans person? One must never assume the
Well,
sexuality.
you never know. I mean, and especially me being an educator and a teacher, I want to learn more because you don't know. Because sometimes you see the kids and you're like, and I sometimes they're female, but they're dressed. And one time I offended a student.
Yeah.
Call me him. I'm like, okay, shoot.
Yeah.
So I would pull. I go, what would you like to be addressed so that I don't offend your feelings? Well, then after that we're okay. So. It's just, we need to know that because we want to be able to, respect our kids and, make them feel safe at school. So that's why I'm always.
My
okay.
pronouns is trees, by the way.
Just trees?
Just trees.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, all the labels now.
Yeah.
Non-binary,
There's a lot
pansexual.
There's a lot.
There's a lot of pronouns too.
Before-
There's like Z.
Yeah.
Honestly, before it was just lesbian, gay, bi.
Bi-
That was it.
Yeah.
And then the trans came in. I mean, it just kept adding up.
No, well, trans, of course.
It was there, but when it first started, it was LGBT. Then now it's LGBTQ, LGBTQ plus.
IA.
all the,
2P,
yeah, it's like
there's
so many
Yeah.
acronyms.
But it also shows how diverse our community is.
Right.
Right.
Because all of these things are personal preference.
Of course.
They're
And,
not,
but man, Sebastian, I get confused
Same
already after
here.
the Q.
Same here.
Honestly, if an acronym has to be that long, then you kind of ruin the point of an acronym. It's supposed to be speedy. It's supposed to be quick. It's
Exactly.
LGBT,
Correct.
but
And I've been saying that for a
LGBTQI2P.
long time.
It's
Like,
They're like,
I
so
can't
what is
do
the
it.
whole thing now? I'm like, LGBTQIA, QRS.
I just said.
And they're like, is that really it? I'm
And
like,
then-
no, because I don't know the rest.
I go, hello.
that's the downside.
Our
of trying to
community's
be
already getting
inclusive.
confused as it is. Let's not
include
make
so many.
They're getting more
people that-
confused now.
That's
Honestly,
why now
like,
they just add the plus, and I'm
Yeah.
like, is that like gay premium?
That's
subscription, right? You gotta pay $9.99 every month. to-
I was just telling you, Ernesto, that's the downside of wanting to be inclusive. That's you want to please everybody and
Oh, yeah.
include everybody.
But in this community,
Yeah.
there's no such thing as inclusivity anymore. I mean, how
Yeah.
do you become, I mean, like I said, there's just, nobody even knows what we identify as. They see me and they're like, what is he? They see her, him, what is he? They see
What's going
him.
on?
What is he? You know,
Yeah.
it's the confusion.
I just respond. We're human, and we want to be
Yeah.
treated with equality and respect and love.
Nowadays,
Exactly.
there's
Period.
so much. They confuse it with the sexuality.
Yeah.
You know, the identity. Like, technically, you're a cis man, but you're gay. Right?
Yes.
He's a sissy man.
Yeah, I'm a sissy man.
Even,
I'm a girl.
even when I heard
It's
that,
stuck
you
in a
know,
boy's body.
I'm like, what is this?
I remember
cis
yeah,
man,
he asked me.
cis man, cis woman.
He
I'm
asked me, he's like,
yeah.
what is
They-
cis man and cis
they know.
woman? And I'm like, you're basically accepting the gender that you were assigned. at
The
birth.
Latin of cis, I think, means like on the side of. So your gender is parallel to your sexuality. And
Right.
There you go. I like this guy. He's got all the info.
Right.
But like, you know, for me, like with the whole how the acronym is getting so long and the flag is getting more colors onto it, you know, I think at a point, as a gay man, I don't know what it's like to be trans. So why am I going to lump myself in with, you know, their community? I have no experience on that. All I know is myself and being gay.
Right.
But like, I don't even know what it's like to be a lesbian. So I don't fully embrace the whole everybody lumped in together.
Mm-hmm.
Separate but equal. I believe in that.
Yeah.
You know, and like you said, just treat everybody with love, respect, and kindness. That's it.
I
Give
think
the same
yeah.
amount of respect. that
and
you want in return.
and who they want to they choose to love, whether it's female, male, trans, you know, I think that should be secondary. Love is love.
And I genuinely believe that, you know, as within, so without, or within is without. So
Right.
inside of you is also, you know, the world around you.
Right.
And so if you hate somebody, you're kind of hating yourself. If you love everybody, then that is how you, I feel like that's how you truly can love yourself. It's
Yeah.
just loving
Like
the whole
Josh,
universe.
exactly. Like Josh, he brought up something to me last night. That's the one thing I like about you. You should always interact. But, you know, why not, right? I mean, everybody's human. Everybody deserves that,
Yes.
you know. And when you brought that up to me, you know, I never realized I did that. But I guess I do, because he brought it up to me. It's like, you know, the one thing I noticed about you should always interact. You know, I don't judge people by who they are, or what they are, whatever. You know, I talk to them like they're humans. And I would like for a lot of people to talk to us like that, but it doesn't always happen. You know?
Yeah, there's always going to be that negative aspect and the danger,
Yeah.
especially being who we are.
But like what Ernesto said, you know, you channel that and stay positive, you know, and love yourself first, and then everything else will radiate, you know.
Yes,
but again,
exactly.
if you have that hate, you know,
Yeah, you
just
don't get anywhere with that. I mean, I've been there, and that's the worst place to be stuck.
Quote is like,
You know?
you know, hate or anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. So
Right.
like really,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you hold that in you, it's just like on your aura. It's
Yeah.
like all over you, and that's the point.
And I've come across people that are like that, and it's like you try, because I'm always about seeing the better in one. But man, if you make several attempts and it's you can, what is it? You can lead the horse to water, and
You
Yeah.
can't force it.
yeah, and
But you can drown it.
Right.
Hey, why don't you
Well,
just ride the
that
horse?
wasn't the
Ride the horse.
initial mission.
But I just
Just ride the horse to the.
I just have to,
part,
you know,
and, like, just
Just
stop
kill
it.
but
eat it for barbecue.
but
Forget the horse.
I feel so bad for that individual. It's like, man, if you just change your perspective, a lot's gonna go for you. But if you choose to stay like that, I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes that's the only thing you can do is just feel bad for them.
But there's
you know?
only so much, but
Yeah.
we wish them well. and-
I think some people are just really unhappy with it.
And
Well, that's what I'm saying.
stubborn.
It's like,
Yeah.
going back to everything you guys are saying. Like, how can you expect to love somebody else if you don't even love yourself?
Exactly. And, I mean, I'm sorry, but don't bring your sadness and sorrows to me. I have better things to do, And I would tell my employees that when they come to work huffing and puffing, I'm like, go back out the gate, leave whatever issues you have out there and come back in. And come back into work. And come back in as you. Not as, Mr. I'm gonna huff and puff all day because my wife pissed me off or my brother. So, sometimes it's just not worth it, because it is true, you do, there is a transfer effect. When somebody comes in and they start acting like that, it transfers to you.
It's contagious.
Yeah, it is very contagious. And You know,
Especially when you work with kids too.
oh,
Like,
believe
they
me,
deflect a lot of stuff.
Yeah, the
like,
kids absorb.
Yep.
They're sponges.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, Glennie and I both work for the educational,
Yeah.
so we know how it feels to be in the school site. And some of these kids, even our coming out brothers and sisters, they hold a lot. They hold a lot, and then they expect everybody to actually listen to them versus wait, hold on, who are you talking to? Uh, but that's how they are. They want they want to be heard, but they just don't know how to express it. So they turn around and they say, okay, you know, you're gonna do this. You're gonna say that, and you look at their little friends right around them, and their friends are like cronies to them, and I feel bad for their friends because it's like, you know, you're the popular kid, okay, yes, but why do we have to do everything you say?
Yeah.
Doesn't it
Yeah.
matter what we think about this
Be
moment?
you.
And since
Be you.
you brought up coming out again, like I wanted to ask you, because like, would you say most trans people come out twice?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I can say I came up twice because I didn't know. the- I don't know. I guess it's just because most people or some of us didn't know about trans, or they were too embarrassed.
Or because I think for
And-
me, it's like if someone is going to identify as trans, right? Obviously, you're
Yeah.
going to be attracted to the same sex.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's how you're going to identify it first. But then I guess somewhere down the line, there's that
Yeah.
other part of you that you still didn't,
Yeah.
like in your case, you didn't understand.
Yeah. That's where that's where gender fluid comes into, because you can identify as that, and then further down the line, when you finally figure out exactly who you are, that's how that's where they come in. What's that? Gee, I mean, like now I can see. I mean, because I was into girls and I thought lesbian, but I was feeling more manly. That's how I thought I was. I mean, I thought I was weird, and then I found out.
It's,
And I
it's
think
not
that's what
even-
we all
I
are.
think, yeah.
Because I
I
mean,
think that's what makes it difficult for you
Because
too, because
I
when
was
they
very
see you out in
sheltered.
public,
I was
like-
very sheltered.
I think when they see you out in public, like especially with Guam, like a lot of people are more familiar with trans
Yeah.
male to female,
And
but they're
then
not really
more-
familiar with female to male. So
Right.
like I'm thinking like in my mind, because especially when I see it happen a lot,
Yeah.
in my mind it's like when they look at you, they're like, oh, that's just another butch lesbian.
Yeah. You,
And
you
Right.
fall
I mean,
into that label.
That's
yeah.
because that's all on account of the fact I don't have my top surgery. But that's under people's first look at me, their
The
assumption,
perception, yeah.
And I'm okay with that, as long as after the fact that I tell them, and they know that I'm trans. After that, then I know that it's personal, and they don't accept it. Like
I see.
they can only say sorry so many times, like.
Yeah.
And I can tell them, so many times it hurts my feelings when you use
Right.
this
Yeah,
pronoun.
That's
And,
the
like,
thing
you
with life today.
Some people don't get it.
Even I've been in this life forever, and you know what? I'm still learning.
Yeah.
We
I am
we
too.
learn,
I am too.
you learn a lot,
Mhm.
and you understand it a lot more, but at the same time, it still can be confusing.
Yeah.
Me too. I've like, as confusing as I get and as frustrated as I am with, the ever expanding, LGBT community and all this, like, if somebody's trans and they tell me, like, I will commit to at least, respecting, them as if it's their name. Like, if you tell me your name is Sebastian, of course I'll call you that. I won't call you by your, like,
Yeah.
old
government
prior
name.
name, right?
Right.
Government.
Yeah,
name.
Government
they-
name, yeah.
Some people know me from, as my government name from growing up, I just hope to God that they,
But overall, it is a frustrating experience, not just for you, but also for the, the other person.
yeah.
Right.
And so it's like we both have to like learn and just, like respect.
Yeah.
And
That
that's what-
mutual respect.
And that's
somehow.
what we hope to bring to like with this. We want all people to come on and share their experiences, and then if there's something that they're not too familiar with, like that's why you're here. That's why we're
Yeah.
inviting you. Maybe you can have an open discussion about it.
Yeah. And it's always good to ask questions than to assume anything.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
for my preference, I mean, gee, I wish people would stop using the pronouns, like at the store, out, like, when they say
Ma'am.
thank you, sir, thank you, ma'am, this and that.
Yeah.
Like, But I can't do it. Like you can't just stop everything.
Of course.
It's just best to accept it. Like not really try to correct anybody that doesn't know. And if they're not in your personal life, it shouldn't. Well, for me, it shouldn't really matter.
Yeah.
If they're not in my personal life and they don't affect anything around me or about me, they're good.
They don't pay your bills,
That's
so
okay. Yeah.
get their
Yeah.
opinion.
They're not buying my cigarette or my candy. or
Hey,
my
they don't
drink,
come home at night too, so
Yeah.
you got
Yeah.
nothing to worry
Those are the
about.
real important people too.
Yeah.
So
Would you guys say that you guys have lost friends or family members
I have.
through
Yeah.
you coming out?
Well, not lost family members, but I have lost friends. Like, well, not friends, but like clients. They clearly knew. I mean, I'm like an open book. I'm like an open book. I can be read from a mile away, and and some like I have lost male clients because of their
Phobia.
no,
Fear.
not because of their phobia, but their relationship. Like, let's say they get into a new relationship with a female, but she doesn't accept the fact of how close I am with the client when I'm cutting his or her hair, or his hair, or whatever. Right? She can't accept that. She's like, no. So it's like all of a sudden I'm unfriended. And there's nothing really happening. There's absolutely nothing happening. I'm just doing my job. But a lot of times also it's the wives. They do get a little jealous about it, and they turn around and say, "Oh no, you're gonna go start seeing who I go to or whatever." And they come up with this, with this soft story of, oh, I just go here now because my wife goes there. But in actuality, because when the wife is there, she's giving you these, she's throwing you shade, she's throwing you attitude. Like, I don't even know you. Why are you acting like that towards me? I mean, it can get to that point where sometimes you just want to put down your shears, grab her by the hair, and drag
cut
her
it off.
outside.
I was gonna say you're gonna cut her hair off.
Right, and just like throw her out the door. It's
Bald
like,
now.
you wait outside.
You asked to be blonde?
Uh-huh.
I think it's going to be green.
From what you're describing,
you
she
have
seems
nice
to
long
be,
hair. Now you have a boy cut.
Oops! Now you look like a boy, and I still look like a girl. Sorry, but
To me, that's
you know,
all characteristics of somebody who's insecure.
exactly.
Yeah, it's
No,
so
and it's so
insecure.
sad
Yeah,
because
gosh, yes.
a female getting jealous of another male. I mean,
Of a gay man. Too,
exactly.
That's
There,
deep.
it's like
Insecurity.
honey, are you unsure about your man? Are you unsure about him that you're getting jealous of even another gay man? It's like, it's sad.
Yeah, there's
But
a
it
million and
happens.
one questions that go through my head when I
Yeah.
see stuff like that happen. Like, I want to look at them and be like, whatever it is you're insecure, it's okay.
And I get that way with my female friends. Like, are you sure your husband's not gonna mind, right? And they're like, no, it's all right, And then freaking further on down the line, I become a problem because we're getting real close, And because I identify as a trans man, like their insecurities start clicking, and I was like, I already knew it. Like, I knew it. That's why nowadays, like, having female friends is like very off limits for me. Like, okay, it's all right.
Our motto should be,
Bye.
if a female gets jealous of another gay man, our motto should be, I'll take your man, because I will. I will take your man. I'm sorry, but just to prove you right. Okay, let's do it. Exactly. Probably do it better than her anyway. Just messing around, but yeah, maybe I'm not.
But I mean, these are real things that we go through and see,
Exactly.
and you're like,
Same.
what? Really?
It's the same gay, straight, bi.
Yeah.
There's
I
always
mean,
going to be the...
as with any,
Notice it's pretty prevalent though in Guam, like with our Chamorro culture, Chamorro peoples, the whole Egu thing is
yes.
penetrates everybody, gay, straight, whatever you are.
Yeah.
Which is irritating for me. Because I haven't lived on Guam, like I lived half my life in the States and then I
Right.
came back and
And
it's
it's-
just like
It's so different,
the
right?
culture shock of how Egu people can be and how childish like grown adults can be.
Yeah.
They're actually worse than
Blows
kids
my
sometimes.
mind.
It's,
Yeah, and
they
it's like-
are.
They were just asking me, like, what type of milk I use for my cereal. Like, why were you getting mad?
Right?
Grab things
You move the person's plate and they want to fight you. And I'm like, really?
Personal space, right?
Bro,
You
did
know?
you just look at my fingernail?
Or the minute you get introduced, when you get introduced, they're like, "Who's that?" I'm like, when I hear "Who's that?" I go, "Ooh, that's Code Red Sector 5. We're not gonna talk to this group here in the family."
Right? I mean, I don't know what their problem is, but it's like, did they wake up on the wrong side of the bed that all of a sudden today you want to be like that, or is this natural for you?
Wrong side of the futon.
Right?
No, but as Ernesto said, it's a big thing.
It is actually,
And
Being
coming
ego
from the
is a
States,
big
and you're
thing.
like, what is this?
Yeah, like even sometimes you don't have to do anything.
Yeah, just
They
even
the
standing there.
moment you
Just-
enter, your very presence is a threat to
yeah,
them.
exactly.
And they're just like, and when you go approach them, you're like, man, what's your problem? I just don't like you. And I'm like, you don't even know me.
Why?
you know,
Why?
it's really sad
I
that
even
we
had
go through
one.
that.
I was attending a funeral in the line, and I knew of this couple, and the wife knew who I was. She pulled the husband back, and I'm like, "We're here at a funeral. I'm not gonna steal your man here. Are you kidding me?" And I'm like,
That happened to me
I
once.
was like, "Oh my god!"
Hey, it
That
doesn't
happened to
matter
me
where you're
once
at.
too.
Yeah.
It's sad when it
And
happens.
I knew the girl. I went to school
And
with her.
she was
yeah,
clinging
she
on
was
to him
doing
like,
that,
I'm
and
like-
you know,
Like all of a sudden, right?
we
were you
went
like that
outside.
before I came.
we went outside, and like the husband was saying hi to me, and she's like, "Don't say hi to him." I was like, "He is not my type, first of all."
Yeah.
Mhm.
And she just looked at me, and I said, "You can cling on to him all you want, but there's nothing going on here."
And then we do have our friends that are very comfortable. You know,
Mhm.
they're our straight allies, and their husband. They're like, "You want my husband? You want?" I'm like,
Right.
"No, are you?
Yes,
what the
yes,
heck's
you
going
do get
on?" Do we have that opposite side of the
Yeah.
spectrum? We're like, "Hey,
Yeah.
Be
I have a-
honest.
I
It's
have a
always no,
friend-
outside, and in your mind, you're like,
no,
yes,
no.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
I have a friend.
The one night, what's that? They like to say the Mali's gonna sleep with the party,
Right.
Like,
No,
oh.
I have a friend. She always
No,
tells
no.
me, if I die, you're marrying my husband. I'm like, and the husband's like, yeah, sure, shoot. And I'm looking at them like, okay, something's wrong with this. She goes, I don't want my man to be with another woman. I want him to be with you. I'm like, what? I'm like, it
Just-
shocks me because
Just tell
it's
them
like,
to sign the paperwork.
right? Sign the paperwork. Give me the house. Give me the lot.
My
I don't
name
care
better
about
be
your
on the
car.
will.
Right?
My name better be on the will.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's no deal.
Until I see the affidavits filed at the court. Okay.
Then okay, I'll marry your husband, but that's all, Lenny. That's all.
No, but I can love and appreciate our straight allies that are
Yeah,
comfortable
I do
with us.
too. Because when I started working for GWA, I started hanging around with the butches of men, and it was so shocking. Because I mean, these are lahi kind of men. They're the get down and dirty. Let's dig a hole, fine, all this kind. And I got really close to them and their wives, their family, their kids, everything was like, it was almost a daily thing. They were like, oh, you're coming to the house, you're coming to the house. My wife says to come to the house, And I'm looking at them and I'm like, wow, these are men who you would think would only want to hang out, with men, but they're always like inviting me. And, it comes to the mere fact that they just enjoy our presence. They enjoy our, our company. Because we don't make it boring for them.
I actually
Probably
had-
no competition either.
Exactly.
I remember too, like someone once asked me, like, why does so-and-so like hanging out with you? Like, you guys are like two very different. And I'm like, different how? And then, it was more like, I felt like they were, in a sense, saying that he's more masculine versus me, where I have some feminine traits.
Right.
And I just told him, I said, well, he just likes me as a person. I just happen to be gay.
Yeah.
He likes what I bring to the table whenever I come around.
And that's how it
Yeah.
should be,
Yeah.
No judgment, no nothing, just like Glennie says, live your truth. Everybody should live their truth and just accept one another. You can't change me from the way I am or who I am, and I can't change you.
Yeah, if I want to identify as a tree, You guys can't stop me.
Right?
Be the best tree.
You know, but it's true. I mean, you can't.
So awful.
What kind of tree?
Tree?
What kind of tree?
My pronouns are tree.
I want to be a tree that wears red shirts.
So you want to be a flame tree,
Yeah,
tree,
a
flamboyant
flaming
tree,
tree, flamboyant
right?
tree.
You want to be a flame tree, okay?
And my tree's only gonna have one flower. Not big deal.
You know, my former boss used to do that, and one time she came to work and her flower was dead. We're like, you know, your flower's dead, right? What? Why? She took it off. Oh my God! And I was like, I was like,
I would have been like,
go into
all that
office.
hairspray.
and that's probably what it was. That's probably what it was, because I thought my friends killed the ozone layer. I think this one done killed it a long time ago. but you know, this one loves hairspray.
Yeah. At my house, I have a little station in the
When you
hallway.
walk in her out of, you know, so last night I've been to her house like several times. I never really looked until your sister told me about your little station in the hallway. So when I came out of the restaurant, I was walking and looked, what the she had everything, flat iron, blow dryer, curd iron, everything was all like in these baskets. I'm looking, I'm like, geez, I'm a hairdresser, but he has more stuff than I do.
You know, it was funny because when I first asked to use your restroom and I was walking down the hallway, I remember just walking kind of by it and I did a double take. I was like, and then I stopped. And then one of your nephews was in the hallway. She's like, oh, that's Uncle Glenn's. And I was like, oh, I know. I can tell.
No, but really, he had more stuff than I
Okay,
ever had.
so to end
You
this,
are already.
no, I wanted to be a hairdresser when I was going to school, right? And I was talking to my mom, and she just looked at me. She was, what? I go, Mom, I want to be a hairstylist. That doesn't make money. You're going to be a teacher. I'm like, so she shot my dream, right? And then, you know, I started meeting other friends. I go, man, they make more tips. So it's okay. Blondie goes, it's never too late. You can go back to school. So
I used to make
We'll
at
see.
least 200 to 300 a day, just in tips.
We'll see.
You know,
I remember.
Yeah, and then like another, you know, my payments would be maybe about 400 or 500. I used to take home. Well, now I only work like sometimes, not even part time, but I used to take home.
Your status is not part-time.
Right, I used to take home about 6,000 to 7,000 every 2 weeks. You know, as a hairdresser, and you know, my family was really upset when I told them I was going to be a hairdresser because they were looking. Oh, he's going to be a lawyer because he likes to argue. Oh, he's going to be a doctor because he likes to, you know, work on things. Right? None of that ever happened. Sorry. You know, I became a hairdresser because I was 13 when I actually knew what I wanted to do, and I lived it. I made sure that dream came true. And when, you know, like I was telling, you know, some of my family, oh, I'm going to go to school to become a hairdresser. They're like, it doesn't make money. Why do you want to do that? You should, you know, become an attorney, become a doctor was out of the question. You know, if I operate on you, I'll probably kill you. You know, before I fix you. An attorney, yes, I can argue, but you know what? I just don't want to waste my time. So.
You'll argue, even if you win, you'll just keep arguing.
Yeah, exactly. So I became, and I really wanted to be a hairdresser. So I became a hairdresser, and when they found out how much I was making a lot more than them, and they're like, "Wow!" I was like,
And you know, with our LGBTQ community, we want to encourage them. You know, like what Ernesto said, you know, tap into their talents so that they can become successful.
exactly.
And, you know, be productive.
You can't say I haven't met someone that identifies as us, that they're not really good at something.
Yeah, we're all
I
talented.
think everybody has their own talents. You know, some just don't know how to. Some just don't know how to find it. Some don't know how to put it together and use it to execute it. You know, but in all honesty, I think we all, you know, every single person has a talent. You know, his is education. Mine is hair. I tried to go to school for education, and guess what? 2 years
Josh's is
later,
music.
Hers
Will be yours.
His is music.
Psychology.
Yours is psychology.
Mine's being a tree.
Flame tree.
A flaming tree, sorry.
Right.
You know, I was reading this article or something, this journal, and it was talking about like the function of like gay men in like caveman times, like, you know, hunter-gatherer times. and like, why do we still exist if it doesn't really make sense because we cannot have babies? Why do we still exist throughout history? And they were like making this theory that like gay men back in the hunter-gatherer days, they would go they would go out hunting with the other men, but the gay men were very like particular and very like they would narrow in on the details. They're very detail oriented, so they would know what's the clean water. They would know like what's the they were just more clean, I guess, than the straight cavemen. So it helped the group survive pretty much.
No, yeah.
And I noticed that with gay men in modern times is that we're very detail oriented. We're very like, kind of, that's why we're so delicate and stuff like that, because it's the details. God is in the details. So, and then I noticed like gay men now, we're very good at like aesthetic kind of careers, like hairdressing, makeup, fashion.
Right.
But even in like any job we're in, we're just very, the aesthetic is very on point, and just like, we're more diligent, I guess.
Well,
because we pay attention to
that too. Because like even when I was working in sales, I found out me being gay was actually a plus.
Yes.
Majority of my clients wouldn't even talk to anybody else. They would come to me, and I'm just like, I'm not the only one that works here.
But it's true. We are more when we do things, we do it in a more careful manner. And we want to get it right the first time, because I think we all have this thing about having to show people that we can do it, and we can do it right versus I've seen you do it and this is how it should be done. I think we all have that in us.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Only because like aside from like the whole aspect you brought to the table, I feel like we as trans, gay, whatever you identify as, I think we have a harder time like people accepting that we are just like that. Like I remember a perfect example, like I joined this tournament for Street Fighter, and everybody there knew I was gay. So it's like whenever I was going up against somebody, I always felt or had a sense like they didn't see me as a threat, to knocking them out of the tournament. And then it's like they play against me and they're just looking at me, and I'm like, I didn't really catch on to it until like maybe after my third match. After I beat that guy, I went outside and I was like, I asked my friend who I went with, and I was like, why does everybody keep looking at me like that? He goes, Josh, I didn't want to say anything to you because I didn't want your like head to, I wanted you focused on the matches. And I was just like, okay, but what? And he's like, they saw you as less of a threat because you're, and I'm like, because I'm gay.
Exactly. Yeah. And sometimes gay people are even more of a threat than they shouldn't view us as less of a threat, because we can actually be the threat that they want to avoid,
They underestimate us.
They do, because when we hone in on something, we hone in. We put our eye on the prize, and there's nothing going to stop us from getting that prize. And if you try to stop me, I'm going to find a way to move you, push you, do what I have to do to get to that prize, And I think that's where a lot of people make that mistake of thinking, oh, he's gay, I don't have to worry about it. His feminine side's going to come out. It'll be easy. It'll be an easy hunt, basically.
That's a good thing, because then they lose their guard. They're,
exactly.
It's a strategy.
That's in the Art of War by Sun Tzu. So.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden,
that's what I was going to add on to that. I said, I guess it works out for me. And it's like, when I was like, they weren't expecting this.
Yeah, exactly. Because at the end of the day, we're the winners. We're the ones walking away with the prize. And some people, like I said, just don't see it that way. They think just because we're gay, we're soft. Really? I mean, we are soft. I mean, we are, we are, but it's like, I heard that. But when they think that it becomes an advantage to us, I guess, a big advantage, because then, and you know what I noticed something about gay people, when we see that it's an advantage, we take it. We take it and we go with it. And we don't say anything. We don't say anything like, oh yeah, I have the advantage because of this, that. We just keep going. And, we end up at the end with it. Yeah.
Ernesto, I wanted to ask, because you're in the field of psychology, are there any, challenges that we see, like in terms of mental health, with our people, our people in our community?
Yeah. I wish I had like statistics in my head
Sure,
prepared,
yeah.
but I don't. But for sure, like, people in the gay and the queer, spectrum definitely face more mental health problems, especially addiction. I honestly think that addiction and like drug abuse is probably our number one killer when it comes to mental health.
I'm gonna raise my hand with that one.
I think
Yeah.
they turn to that because it's like it's a way out for them.
Yeah,
huh?
It's an escape.
huh? Yeah.
You know?
And it's just really
So-
tragic. Here on Guam, like ice, my goodness, like
It's very big.
it's really destroying people. And so gay, queer people were more vulnerable, much more vulnerable to that than
Right,
for our heterosexual.
I did it.
You know,
You know,
people.
when I was in my 20s, I won't say how old am I now, but when I was in my 20s, I was, for like a good year and a half.
You're
I
still
was-
in your 20s.
right? 21 then. But yeah, I got heavy into it because I wanted to be like my friend. You know, they were doing it, and I was that one sitting in the corner just allowing it to happen. Watching them. And one day I said, you know what? I want to be just like them. When we go out, I want to have that same feeling they're having. And then tried it one time, 2 times, and got hooked on it. And then one day I just finally just said, you know what? I looked at everybody around my circle and I said, God, you guys are so hooked. And then I got that mentality that got me chemical, so why make it live your life, So that's actually how I got out of it. Because I started to think that way. But I do notice in the gay community that's like one of the biggest issues we have is the drug.
And alcohol too.
Yeah.
We consume more alcohol. I think like 4 times more. I'm making
Oh,
that
I
up.
can say
I
I'm
don't
an
think you can cite
alcoholic.
that, but we consume way more than like the heterosexual people.
Well,
That's for
technically too, because we don't have kids.
Right.
So we have more money to spend. That's where
Yeah.
I think that comes into play too.
Basically, no, like I can't be responsible for that life. I'm sorry, but to have a kid and be responsible for that life, no. I would probably take that child to the mall and sell it. I'm just joking.
No, I remember
Wow.
one time he was like, I want to get a dog. And I was like, that dog's going to die.
Yeah.
And he was like, wow, no faith. And I'm like,
It's
No,
It's the beauty of us. I mean, like that's why we're so like goal oriented, and we have a better shot at our reaching our goals because we don't have those that kind of commitment or responsibility.
yeah.
Most of us,
when I was,
you know.
what trips me out too is that in SF, the bars there it's so popular, not just with the queers, but like with heterosexuals as well, because the drinks are like way cheaper than
Right.
anywhere else in the
Right.
city. And it's like they're really targeting gay people's susceptibility to drug abuse. And then when I went to Pride in San Francisco many years back, I would look around me and it's like all these beer liquor companies with the rainbow on their logo now, like Absolute and all these just
Right.
alcohol companies
Yeah.
freaking advertising to us while we're partying, and just like they're kind of feeding our weakness
Right.
for drug
Because they know that
Oh, like that meme.
they know
It's
that
messed
it's gonna
up.
hit us.
Yeah, because
You know,
I
they
well,
just put
I
a
mean,
rainbow on
we're
it, and
easily
now
persuaded.
they
it's
like
all
us.
it's all a marketing strategy.
Yeah.
And
It's
we're
like
make money.
like I said,
We wanna make money.
we don't have kids, so we spend more. Like when I remember one time I had to look at that, like targets, I
Right.
guess you could say for sales, and when I stumbled across that, I was like really thinking about it. And I'm like, we do spend more than straight people on ourselves. We do spend on these more.
interesting.
A lot of times I just feel that, like you said, they target us because we get so easily persuaded. We get so easily persuaded. If we see something bright and shiny, sorry to say, but if we see something bright and shiny, we're going over there. We're not going to you because you're dull. We're going over there.
No.
And then what? And then they start
Something
telling us,
bright and shiny. Will be like,
Yeah.
I think that's a star.
Are you talking about the sun?
right? But it's true. I mean, we're so easily persuaded. I mean, I won't say no to that. I won't. I mean, you're right. We do.
Yeah, most of us are
A lot of us
always
are full.
with the
We
new-
fall for it. We fall for it. But you know, sometimes it's what we enjoy doing, you know, and we do what we enjoy. I go to Glennie's house, and the first thing I do is, can I have beer? I want a beer. I bring the beer. You know, and it's like, you know, and then his sister's like, come eat, Nanny. And I'm like, oh, wait, I'm going to have one or two first, you know?
He's like, oh, he doesn't want to eat. I'm like, he's trying to quit.
Right? Well, you know, I need to now that I feel like Teresa's puck, but yeah. But, you know, it's, you know, I think we do it just for the fun of it. We all like to have fun.
It's good to indulge. I mean, like, not, you know, I'm on a soapbox acting like a bleeding heart, but hey, I drink too, you know, I party as well. So I'm not acting like I'm, you know, so high and mighty.
None of us are perfect. Not even the high and mighty ones.
Being responsible, of course.
But it's true though. Like when you were mentioning all of that, I got like flashbacks of when I was reading that thing, and I was just like, this makes perfect sense.
Right? No, but it's true. And you know, I think when we do it to have fun with each other, you know? I mean...
I'm thinking that's what it is.
Yeah.
Because, you know...
It becomes fun for all.
It's kind of the norm now. You know, like, oh, we're going to go hang out. Oh, what are you guys going to do? Oh, we're just going to have some drinks. Like, whatever it is you're doing. Like, now the norm, too, is like, oh, we're all going to sit and play a video game or something. But
you know what? I like it. I like it because you don't have to dress up. I can go in slippers, torn shorts, and a tank top that's all torn to Glennie's house, and
right, because after so many beers, it's not going to matter what you're wearing.
Exactly.
The clothes are going to be off.
Exactly. I'm not going to be like trying to fix my shirt like I am now because it feels like it's going to bust at the seams. Everybody see. Anyway, but yeah, it's like I took the wrong shirt, by the way. One size too small. but yeah, it's like, you know, I think we all do it just for fun. I mean, you know, to enjoy each other's company, you know. But I do this one. This is like my mother. You okay to drive? You okay to drive? No, Nanny, I'm not okay to drive.
Yeah, and that's what
only because I rearrange curves. You know,
this is a story we'll probably share for another time.
Right, but
and
you know,
speaking of time, like it's been a while already.
Yeah, but the bottom line is we're here, you know, to help each other, you know,
and give each other the support.
But you know, drink responsibly, and you know, always have our DD, and
right,
you know, of course, you know, we're not gonna.
I have my DD, and then I have somebody following my DD. But you know,
I'm your DD. That's my stock.
right.
That's your drag name, Dee.
Right?
Oh no, Nanny. No. Oh, that's so. You know what? That would be a topic for another time. I just don't want to get into that name.
As well.
Yeah, thank you so much.
That was a very fun conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
Interesting.
Looking forward to more. Yeah. Blondie, Sebastian, Ernesto, thank you so much for joining us.
Have you guys on more?
Lenny, Josh, thank you as well. You know.
So stay tuned again for another podcast episode, and this is going to be a second part, and hopefully we'll have our other sisters, our older trans women come on the panel, and we'll have a engaging conversation with them and their perspective. So,
definitely.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for joining us on the Hafa Adai Yu Podcast.
And Viva Pride.
Viva Pride.
Viva Pride.
All right.
Yes, it's Pride Month. So live your truths, Nanny.
Yep.
Live your truths.
Be nice.
Love yourself.
Love yourself. Amen.
Yes.
Love yourself.